So I'm mostly doing this because I said I was going to do it, and I'm out of time. This will be a short one. Hopefully, I'll do them every week. I wanted to call them my Friday morning notebook dumps, but that sounds horrible. And my wife pointed that out, and she's right. So I don't know what to call it. I don't know what I'm doing, but this is something I wanted to try because I have all of these notes that are just never going to turn into anything, or they may turn into something, but I want to just kind of flesh them out a little bit. Um, and these just come from the notes of things that I've observed out in the world. And today I want to talk to you about the note here says clickbait goldfish. And so out in my backyard, I have a pond, and in the pond we have a bunch of koi, um, and we also have a heron that has been coming to eat them. One of the ways that we've dealt with that is we bought a net that goes over the pond. It's like a tent. And ideally, in the beginning of the summertime, when the plants haven't grown yet to give the fish a place to hide, it'll keep the heron from getting in there and eating, our fish. Because we spent a lot of money on fish this summer as we tried to figure out ways to kind of thwart the heron. So one of the ways that I tried to thwart the heron in the past, and I've written about this, link in the show notes or whatever. One of the ways I tried to thwart them was getting goldfish as well. So I bought a bunch of goldfish and I threw the goldfish in there, and the goldfish procreate like you would not believe. And so I bought about 20 goldfish the first time. We got up to about 60 before the only solution was to stop preventing the heron from eating them. And so, because of that, and we had a chemical accident, a water temperature accident, and that brought the total number of fish down in the pond down to zero, and we had to start again. So I bought a couple of expensive-ish goldfish, like $20, $30 goldfish, which is a lot for me, not goldfish koi. And um, because they were bigger, but the heron still was able to eat them. The only one the heron wasn't able to eat was a very large one. So that's how we came up with this solution uh, to do the tent and everything. So flash forward, I bought the tent and I bought about 6 or 8 goldfish, maybe 10 goldfish. Again, just to kind of throw the heron off before we could get the tent up. Because even though I bought the tent, there was no guarantee that I was going to put it up. And it did sit for quite some time before it made it up. But now the tent is up. And it's also keeping all the leaves out of the pond, which is super cool. And again, I'll put a photo in the show notes. But the difficulty is that now we've got a bunch of goldfish again. And I I struggle with this for so many reasons. I mean, I bought the goldfish and they were essentially feeder fish. So they were born to die and in these little tiny cages. But also my buying them just continues to get people to raise goldfish that are born to die. Um, and so that's kind of my quandary. I feel bad having the fish in captivity. But they are my little friends and they do give me pleasure and I feed them and we have a relationship. It's easier than you think to develop a relationship with fish, even if that relationship is, hey, here's some food. Good morning, fish. Or if they come out to see you and they hear your voices there, it takes a couple of years to kind of develop that, or it did for me, but it's nice to have. And it's not materially different from having a dog. Um, in terms of the koi. In terms of the goldfish, they are already on their way to becoming another blight. And I have an idea. One of my hobbies is low level minor league vandalism. And I've written about several of my low level minor league vandalism exploits, but I'm not going to recount them all now. What I am going to do is say that it occurred to me that if we have another goldfish population explosion, what I can do is scoop some of them out. And it's easier than you think, but harder than it looks, I guess, is probably. We have a great big net that we use for getting stuff out. So we'll catch myself, maybe a dozen fish, like try to kind of decrease the surplus population, as Scrooge would say. But I don't want to kill them, and I don't want to give them to people who are going to, keep them in little glass boxes because they're goldfish and they're not, they're not really made for that. They get filthy, they die easily. But I live near a golf course, and I think that it's an easy argument to make that there is no more ecologically unfriendly place on the planet than a golf course. And especially one like ours, because I live in a really, really kind of podunk backwater. And at the height of the building boom, they decided they were going to build these townhomes, and they were going to get whatever. I think they were asking $500,000 for the townhomes when they first opened. And they came with a golf course and a pool. And they thought that everyone from Annapolis was going to drive to Del Mar, sell their big homes there, all the wealthier folks, and move just south of the Delaware border. In Delaware, you don't have to pay tax on interest on income from being retired, on retirement income, and in Maryland you do. So they thought that these incredibly wealthy retirees, for some reason, were going to choose 6 feet over the Delaware state line as opposed to in Delaware because they had this Nito Torpedo golf course, which it was a dumb idea. I started opposing it when I moved here in 1996. I started opposing it. It's up. It's not, it's a nice enough place, for a planned community. It's a pressure on the school system that they said it wouldn't be. And it has this golf course that no one goes on. No one uses a golf course there, mostly because it's Del Mar. I mean, you keep wanting to smack them and say it's Del Mar. We care so much here more about being backwater dwellers than we do about anything else. And that's just the way it is. So we couldn't afford I guess it was the $40 fee at the time to play golf on this semi-public course. So anyway, they still cut the grass. They still water the grass. You just, 3 people per week play on this particular golf course. I'm going to take a sip of water. I don't know if I'm going to cut that or not. I didn't expect to be talking for this long. My idea is to, sometime in the middle of the night, throw a bunch of goldfish into one of their runoff ponds. I forget what they're called, but they come in to what used to be a farm, and they dig these great huge holes, and they fill them with water. Stormwater drainage ponds, that's what they're called. They fill them with water, and that way they can get away with not having any trees or any way to deal with the rain that comes from the sky, any productive way, and plus all the runoff from the golf course chemicals and all that should also go into there too. And the idea is that it's an extra filtration system. I don't know whether it works. I don't really care. The point is, it's not a natural pond, so it's not really an ecosystem that I can harm. I feel like that. Comment in the show notes if you think I'm way off here. So anyway, my idea was to throw these goldfish in there. Because that's also where the herons live. Someone probably already had this idea, because there are herons hanging around there eating fish, one supposes. I also occasionally see people fishing there. When you walk around on the golf course, it says like no fishing, no fishing, no fishing. So I'll bet people didn't even know that they could fish there until they saw all the no fishing signs. So I guess maybe they're stocked ponds. I don't know. Again, I don't care. And so I wondered though, if one got away, and you see these internet meme, these clickbaits with these, uh, what are they, with these goldfish that are, 30-pound goldfish, caught in the Amazon, that kind of thing. And I think it would be absolutely splendid to have that in Del Mar. It could be like a tourist attraction. It could be, on the Weird Maryland website, and people would come from all over to Del Mar to look at the golf course and maybe, catch themselves a monster sized goldfish. So that's my working plan. We'll see if it works. That's all the note says. What the note literally says is clickbait goldfish, me dumping goldfish in a local HOA, and that goldfish getting monstrous. All right, well, that'll do it. I hopefully will do this next week. I do not know if I'll do it forever, but I did it today, like I promised. So there.